Brewerton turned into an alley between buildings, passed through the tent city south of town, and stopped in the first available clear space. He got down to chain the wheels. The crowd's excitement had reached him, though he was usually the serenest of men. "We'd better get in line to register before we pitch camp. There's maybe 400 claims to be had, and I'd guess 5,000 people here to register for them." "Adam," said Mrs. Brewerton in a wife's neutral voice, "this may be a wild goose chase." "Everybody files. A week from now the land office holds a drawing. The 400 first names drawn get the claims. We've got as good a chance as any. Letty, you're single and 21. You can file too. Come with me." These two returned to Virgil Street and worked a way through the crowd to the foot of one of the on-creeping registration lines. Up at the counter, illumined by the soft flare of oil lanterns, men lifted their arms and swore their intentions. Move on up there!" Excitement pulsed in the night. It was a current of electricity stinging in Letty's nerves. A picture show's gaudy posters hung to a building wall near her, and from the show house drifted the careless playing of a piano. "Fond of fun as fun can be when it's on the strict QT. Ta-ra-ra-boom-de-ay." Other people arrived to lengthen the line. She heard a man say, "The government charges you $2 an acre for it after you live on it 14 months, if you're one of the lucky numbers. There's 430 claims. Must be 10,000 people wanting them. That's a slim chance." A dry and shallow coughing stopped his speech. Looking around, Letty saw him, a young, very thin man with a single spot of color burning on each pale cheek. He dropped his head and closed his eyes and said no more. 2 places forward, a child began to cry. Letty moved partly out of line to see a woman lift a 3-year-old child to her shoulder. She was a small woman, hardly more than a girl, with great round eyes and a face from which all light seemed to have gone. She was saying to the child in an exhausted voice, "Don't cry. Please don't cry." In the adjoining line, a young couple, obviously from an eastern city, held hands while they waited. A boy with a turtleneck sweater from which a big college letter had been removed packed his pipe and smiled at the world. A broad-shouldered man turned to look at the crying child. His glance discovered Letty and paused on her. Dust rolled as acrid waves in the sudden cool of the night, and people's voices built a constant murmur all about. The piano player in the picture show had changed his tune. "Arowana, on my honor, I'll be true to you." The young child still cried. Impulse moved Letty forward. She took the child from the small woman and snuggled it against her breasts. "What is her name?" "Tara," sighed the young woman, her eyes grateful. "Tara Rand." Then she murmured in a faint voice, "I believe I must get a drink of water," and left the line. "Tara," said Letty. Roused by interest, the little one forgot to cry. She put her head back and weighed Letty with a child's full and unfathomed glance. Letty dropped her lips close to Tara's warm cheek, murmuring a tune that had no words. Over Tara's shoulder she discovered the big man in the adjoining line and met his steady attention. He wasn't much older than the boy with the college sweater, but he was a different kind of man, early seasoned and clearly at home in this dusty land. Mrs. Rand came back. She said, "It was nice of you." A voice behind Letty at once protested, "You lost your place when you left the line. Go back to the foot." Fear grasped Mrs. Rand's face and destroyed every hopeful line. Turning about, Letty watched a man move up through the night's lamp-stained darkness. A black hat cut its shadow across his eyes. His mouth made a quarrelsome streak across a weather-toughened face. "Oh, no," breathed Mrs. Rand. "I only—" A voice behind Letty said casually, "Excuse me," and a solid hand dropped its weight on her shoulder and moved her slightly aside. He came around her, the man who had been watching her from the other line. He had a fair skin burned brown by sun. He had a slow way about him, and she thought she saw one pale, bright flash of anger distant in his eyes. But he was smiling, and he looked at the man with the black hat, as though none of this mattered, and said, "The lady's all right. Move on." The man with the black hat tipped his head until light showed against his face. He said, "Don't bring yourself trouble, friend." The other laid the challenge back with his cold voice. "My name's Kircher. I'll be around, if that's what you mean. Move on."